back. The comic shop is open for business. Grab your pen, grab your pencil, and log into your timesheet because we're doing work tonight on the comic shop. How you doing, Eugene?
I'm
buddy?
doing great. We saw the Thor movie. That was awesome.
Big week for comic book films. I mean, we got just in general, the genre. We got the Thor movie. We got the Superman story. We got a lot to talk about, man.
There are some issues we definitely need to cover today.
So let's just get right to it. We're gonna talk. We talked about Thor a lot last week. Let's review Thor. What'd you think, man?
I was literally blown away. You know what? The whole story, when coming, there was a lot of inside jokes that Marvel decided to throw at you. Hawkeye was in... Oh, wait. Spoiler alert. If you're listening and you have not seen the Thor movie yet, better skip forward until we start talking about Superman.
Yeah, just skip ahead until you hear talk about Superman. That's going to be our next subject. Yeah, spoiler alert. We don't want to ruin it for you, but if you have seen it, we want to break it down. So, you were saying...
Marvel did just a wonderful job of bringing inside jokes to this movie. Like, you had Hawkeye, you had Thor's alter ego mentioned in the background. They switched up some stuff, story-wise, just to make the universe fit within the movie realm compared to the comic book. And I think they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, the cinematic universe is going to be slightly different than the actual traditional comic book universe. They're different mediums, and while I think as long as you maintain the spirit and the tone of the comics, I'm okay with little adjustments to make it fit. Like in the comics, Thor doesn't walk around Earth looking like the Norse god, Thor. He has a mortal host named Donald Blake, and when he hits his stick/hammer into the ground, he transformed into Thor. You just couldn't really bring that to the film, I think, and I'm glad that they stayed away from it. I think it helped make it a better film.
But you know what? They kept him as Natalie Portman's ex-boyfriend.
They worked it in as a small joke. Yeah, Natalie Portman's character has a shirt that she gives to Thor, and she's like, oh, sorry, this is my ex-boyfriend's. And it has a little name tag on it, and it says Dr. Donald Blake. So, a nice little nod to the original. But overall, I loved the film. It was mighty Marvel fun at its best. There was action. There was drama. They established Asgard, the characters on Earth, Thor, Loki, Odin, all the essentials, and the film kind of played out how I thought it would. It starts with mostly in Asgard. Thor makes mistakes. He is banished without his godhood, and he essentially has to earn it back on Earth, and he does, and he learns what it means to be a true hero, and ends up saving the day, and of course, Loki is causing all sorts of trouble.
You know what? You know what the one big issue I had with this movie? There were a couple, first off, there were a couple cliches, but the big problem I had is when they were fighting the Destroyer. Because you had the scene where they were all fighting off the Frost Giants, they were knocking everything back, they were taking out Frost Giants like there was a sale at Kmart.
Seriously, yeah.
And overall, but when you got to the Destroyer, everyone's ability to fight suddenly sucked. Thor was human, but he had all of his companions hanging out with him from Asgard, and they were just sucking balls.
That is true. The Warriors 3 and Sif, when they came to Earth, they still have their super strength and speed and their godlike abilities. I mean, can we just chalk that up to how badass the Destroyer was? Or maybe the Frost Giants just weren't as badass as we thought? I don't know where I lie on that. I'd like to think that the Destroyer is just that strong and that cool and badass, and they just really wanted to play up that angle, maybe? I don't know, but I would have liked to seen the fight between Thor and the Destroyer be a lot longer. But overall, I loved the film. He's a tough character to do. It's sitting at a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. There was a lot that could have gone wrong with that film, and I had a great time at it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it was a great film, and if you haven't seen it, it's in theaters right now. Run out, bring a friend, bring a date, grab the kids, grab the neighbor kid, tell the parents, of course, or else you might go to jail, and go see it.
Yeah, and for you mighty Marvel fans out there are some great references to upcoming stuff. There's a Hulk reference, a Stark reference, the Hawkeye reference, who's going to be in the Avengers, and a great post-credit scene with Nick Fury, Loki, and the Cosmic Cube,
I got chills.
Yeah, I was so jacked up when I saw the Cosmic Cube. A couple people that I saw the film with they knew it was cool, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," but I don't think they really understood just how great that is. Cosmic Cube, real quick, give us a little tidbit on it.
It's a cube. It's cosmic. It's ultimate power. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of one of those things where people aren't 100% sure what exactly it is, but it has what's the word? Just
overly fantastic
power
quality
throughout the universe that can give one great power to control and take over. Yeah.
Well, anyway, today on the Comic Shop, we're going to be talking about citizenship in comics, mainly the subject of Superman, the Young Justice cartoon, Dylan Dog, Dead of Night, the Italian comic brought to life here in the U.S., and then our hero and villain of the week.
What would a comic shop show, or just any show about comic books, be without talking about some heroes and some villains? That's the bread and butter of what we're doing here.
Yeah. With our first subject, if you haven't been living under a rock, then you know that Superman gave up his U.S. citizenship. And it's been a huge controversy. It's been all over the news. And we're actually going to be playing a couple sound clips from the Mike Huckabee interview, which I got a real problem with this interview on so many levels. Like, I just got angry at this politician for basically sticking his neck out without reading any of the source material.
Well, it is a comic book, but you know, it's disturbing that Superman, who has always been an American icon, is now saying, I'm not going to be a citizen. I think it's a part of a bigger trend of Americans almost apologizing for being Americans.
Yeah, he blatantly said he had not read the comic.
Through the roof. He's going to renounce his U.S. citizenship. People are going to run out in droves and buy this thing.
I'm not.
Pretty much.
And yet he went on TV and complained about it for 20 straight minutes.
Yeah. For those who aren't aware, I mean, it's been fairly big news. I mean, it's been covered by a lot of media outlets that aren't, comic book based. There was a great story in Action Comics number 900 where Superman actually renounces his U.S. citizenship. And if you're strictly just looking at the panel and the moment where he, decides to walk away from being a U.S. citizen, you might think that comes across as kind of arrogant or anti-American, but I think when you read the entire story from start to finish and you realize why he's doing it, and it's not a, screw you, I hate America thing. It's a,
I can see the big picture.
I'm bigger than just one country and the rules and regulations of that. I'm about the greater good for the globe. I'm an alien in this world, and I know what it's like to see a world be destroyed.
Truth, justice, and the American way, no more.
I mean, he's still greatly influenced by his small-town upbringing, and that will shine through in his decision-making, but he's not a U.S. weapon, and he's not, or a UN whipping boy or any of that. He is his own man trying to make a difference in the world, and I respect that.
You know what? I thought something was very interesting. You always have the two characters that Superman is. You have Superman, the great protector, and then you have Clark Kent, his alter ego, which grew up in Smallville in Kansas. Now, you got to remember, when you split those two characters apart, they live very much different lives. Superman may be, hey, I'm renouncing my U.S. citizenship in favor of the citizenship of the world, but then you still have Clark Kent. Nobody knows he's Superman except for maybe Lois Lane. And he's still going to be that small-town farm boy, living in the big city, doing his reporter thing. And I think as much as everybody wants to be like, he's leaving the U.S. for good, it's not. He's removing himself as just a symbol for one particular group of people for a much bigger cause.
I see him as being selfless. It's service over self. He's not concerned about technicalities of who he represents or citizenship or any of that stuff. He's just thinking about what's the problem, how can I solve it? It's that simple.
Yeah.
And problems might not always be that simple, but at least he's trying, and I can respect that.
If you haven't read Action Comics number 900, what actually led up to this event is he went to a protest rally. Mm-hmm. And he basically sat between the government and the rebels. He just sat there in front for 24 straight hours and did nothing. He didn't say a word. Some of the protesters walked straight up to him, left gifts at his feet. Some people burned ashes, from the priests, saying how great it was for this basically indestructible man to stand there and just be this complete symbol of world peace.
It was civil disobedience. It was non-violent resistance. Superman could have walked in there and destroyed all that was in his path if he wanted to, but it was really more about the symbolism and making a statement.
I could do it, but I refuse not to.
Yeah, and if we really want to get, into the whole citizenship, let's take a look at Clark Kent's records. All right, I want to see that peachy folder. I want to see his card, his social number.
His green card.
Come on, let's really, we're the birthers on Clark Kent. Someone's cooking those books, all right, and it ain't me. I don't know. Tell me.
I think Martha Kent has some friends high up.
Apparently Martha Kent, with her high school degree, I would assume she has a high school degree. Maybe. I don't know. Diploma, whatever.
Smallville University.
Yeah. She must have been doing some
High.
other stuff during home ec class to pull this off. And I'm thoroughly impressed, Martha Kent. You just got a little bit hotter, in my opinion. Is that too soon? They told me Diane Lane is playing Martha Kent in the next Superman movie. She's still foxy. So,
I'm going to watch it no matter what. Let's take a break. Let's go to...
Back and we're going to talk about the Young Justice cartoon. Stick around. We'll be back on The Comic Shop.